Alright, so here I've gone and set up a jig at the drill press so that I can put these center holes in. I just did one to set up my jig. This makes it real easy. Everything's clamped down so it can't move on me. So I just go ahead and drop my holes in. I usually like to drill from both sides just to help to try to take out any error or any bit wander. Getting these dead on has never been necessarily my strong point. By dead on, I mean perfectly straight through. Good thing is I drill these all about a 1/64 of an inch over an eighth, which means that there's always just a little bit of play and everything moves fine within it. So this is one of those nice parts in the process where super duper accuracy is really not that necessary. So to drill these, I don't have to mark once I have my jig in place, which is nice. And that's it. I get a nice perfect hole right through there. It's exactly where I need it to be. Now I can just go drill the next 10 of them. Alright, now I'm ready to form these little cutouts that form the catch. I can do that at the table saw with a dado blade or a dado stack in. And this is pretty simply done. I set up a stop that marks off the inner edge. So I just run that up and then I come back and take a few passes on my way back to nibble it away. So it's really fast and easy. And because we always want to make sure we're working safe, this is a little closer than I like to be. So a pencil actually makes it a great way to go ahead and run this up, and you're kept good and far away from the blade. Just when you go through, always run all the way past, pick up your stock, and bring it back again. If you try to pull it back, there's a chance it could catch and fly or ruin the workpiece on you. But it goes pretty fast, so we'll do one, and then I will go and take care of the others. And just like that, they're formed. It was fast and easy. So now I've just got 10 more to do. Oh, one last thing when you're doing them, always make sure that your cutout is on the opposite side from your drill hole, otherwise you've got a problem. So always check for that. Okay, we are heading for the home stretch. Last thing we just have to do is cut out the knuckle part of this, and then finally a little sanding after that. And just like that, we cut it out. A little bit of sanding, and we'll put the pin in there. Now, like before, I just do the rest. Okay, we have all of the locks cut. So these are the locking mechanisms. As you can see, I just finished those cuts. Put a little bit of a dowel in here. I do just cut the dowel just a little short so it doesn't stick out. It's left loose because it's going to sit inside of here, so there's no way the dowel could ever actually come out. There's no need to even try to glue that in. And then finally I just gave myself my screw down point and just countersunk that So when I go ahead and do screw these down, the bit stays below the surface. You don't want anything to stick up and catch on the drawer when that slides in. So these two will sit right in here. And on mine, since I'm making many of these at once, I just gave myself a very shallow relief cut where my center divider is going to go. And that is this piece. So it will sit right inside that shallow cut. And what it does is it stops the catches from being able to rise too far. So it only lets them go a little bit. And it contains the hole that the activation rod will go down through that allows you to push these two catches down once the springs are in and release the drawers. So this is pretty simple, just a chunk of poplar, drilled a hole through the dead center, and then just cut out a little piece here on the bandsaw. So next up, in order to get these going further, is we have to put the springs through this board. Now, I got lots of nice little springs. If you're curious where to find lots of springs like this, the easiest thing and by far the cheapest, go find a cheap pack of click pens and take them apart. It doesn't matter if the pens aren't very good, you're not interested in the ink or how they write, you just want the spring. So that's what I did. I think I picked up a pack for like a couple of bucks or something like that for a 10 or 12 pack. You'll get a whole bunch of springs out of it. That's far easier than trying to find a source or a supplier of these little ones. So these are going to sit roughly around about here. The exact positioning isn't super critical. You do want it to be fairly far back on the locking body. So we'd want it somewhere between, say, between these 2 points so that it's held underneath this piece and that it pushes it back up until it hits this. So we can pretty much just say I'm going to put them in roughly the center of here and here, so one on each side. Just make the hole, whatever size spring you get, make the hole just you know, a 1/64 of an inch bigger. If you have a drill bit that size, they're easy enough to come by online. You can find them or you can get them in big sets. That'll just make sure that the spring doesn't bind up on anything. Now what I intend to do is I'm going to punch my holes all the way through. And for mine, I actually went on the back and I routed out a little recess on it, because what I intend to do is to make a little port that will screw on here, and it will allow me to get to these springs if I ever need to. Because once you assemble everything and build the box up around this, you'll never be able to get into this section again. And I just had a thought that if anything was going to fail, it would be these little springs. So I was just making sure I gave myself a way to get in there. So I'm just going to have a little piece of wood that sits in here, 2 screws, you can pop that off, and you'll be able to pull the springs out if you ever need to and replace them, or unstick one if it gets stuck. It's not a necessity, it's just something that I felt like doing. I thought it would add a nice touch to it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get these drilled, and once that's done, we can actually go ahead and start assembling all these pieces together because we'll have everything in place. So, and that'll just leave us the actual drive springs that will get attached to this that will push the drawers out. Oh, and one other piece. Now I'm making mine as double spring open, so drawers will come out from either side. If you were looking for a box, you know, you could very easily just make this the back wall of the box and just have it spring out this way. So you can simply do this with, you know, 1 drawer, 2 drawers. Heck, you could probably fit 3 or 4 in here if you got imaginative for how you can actually go ahead and activate those. But this is just the technique. You should be able to adapt it to whatever you need.